What's going on? All right, what's going on, guys? Let me know if you guys hear me okay. Mic check, mic check. I think everything's good. All right, perfect. Let me go do this. All right, what's going on, guys? Perfect. All right, so let's get straight into it. Oof. I'm a little bit sick, so if you guys hear me a little bit coughing and stuff like that, excuse me. But yeah, let me. All right, perfect. Yeah, guys. So let's see what happens on the news event. I will say this. I've talked about it yesterday and throughout the whole week. I want to see us have a closure above here and then see if we go to all-time highs. But we have FOMC. So are we going to break out of this range? I've seen some people think that we're going to break out to the upside. But again, with the news event, with everything kind of like dependent on what's going to happen when it comes to interest rates, I'd rather just kind of wait it out. So I'm not going to really take any trades. We're just going to watch it together and then probably go over some of the trades that we talked about last night, like silver, which was a beautiful long. And that's why I always have 2 TPs, because now we're starting getting that retracement lower. And yeah, and is this going to be the start actually of a move lower on metals? I'm not trying to fade this, but we'll see what happens on the rate announcement. All eyes right now really is on dollar. Is this going to be a breakdown below and continue lower? Yeah, we'll see. So again, no trades realistically. Like, these are the news events I won't trade, but I'm just very eager to kind of see, is this push above the highs? Are we going to stay inside this consolidation? Or is this going to be the thing that we need in order to have a final breakthrough move? And ES, as typically, ES took out the high. NQ took out the highs as well, but when we look at the pretty much all-time highs, we still have that divergence playing. So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see. News rate announcement comes out in 2 minutes. Let me actually put it up on my other screen just so I can see what actually is going to happen on the rate announcement. All right. All right, let me go through some questions as well. Yeah, I'll answer questions once the news comes out. Actually, we got like 1 minute. Let's see which one, which EBP. Well, this one worked. The bearish one worked. The bullish one technically still in play because we didn't take out the candle bars low. But yeah, I would have to know what time frame, but the bearish one did work. This one, beautiful EBP reversal after such an extended move higher, down to this fair value gap as an objective. This right here was actually a decent trade. And the long one, I wouldn't take this just because FOMC is coming up in like literally a couple seconds. Exactly. The full port method, if you're trading with Apex, use code TRAIN 90% off. So the video on market structures on this channel, just check the live stream. I have it labeled. That is, you could just watch that video. I'll make a dedicated one eventually, but like I talked about it on live. So check this channel specifically and then go into the live recordings and you'll see the video lesson. It's called lesson on market structure, something like that. All right, news announcement. I'll be honest, I don't think much is really going to happen if I'm being honest, because we've had such a big extended move higher. Even if we do continue higher, I think it'll be kind of like a more of a consolidation kind of weight. Let's see what happens on gold. Gold, nothing. DXY, nothing. I think there's also like we gotta wait until like about 2:30 as well. Let's go to my. Also, the thing is, if rates remain unchanged, we probably won't see any significant move in the marketplace, to be honest. So that'll be interesting to see what happens. Let me know in the comment section if you guys are in the chat, if you guys really are into fundamentals or not. I'll be honest, I used to not want to like even look at the fundamentals, but now it's good to, I'll say this, it's good to at least know what the fundamentals are when it comes to like kind of important stuff like this. Yeah, I'm gonna, so once the, actually I probably could do it now because I don't think much is happening. I'm just pulling up on my other screen right now the news just to see what the let me actually, I think I might just get it on Twitter. Yeah, so it pretty much is unchanged. So I don't think we're gonna get that much action, to be honest. So they paused interest rates, paused interest rate cuts until 2027. No rate cut means they're still cautious and not turning on the money printer. Not looking good for risk assets. That's someone's opinion, but like, so pretty much rates remain unchanged, meaning we're probably not going to get any crazy momentum. It'll be interesting to see if this becomes then a fake out when we start to head to the downside. But again, I'm not trying to anticipate a top at all. So that means it would send gold a little bit lower, if I'm being honest, if rates remain unchanged based off fundamentals. And DXY should probably head higher. Yeah, we're heading higher now. Now, I don't like to trade FOMC on the news simply because, again, a lot can change while the announcements are happening. But this announcement is kind of bearish for foreign currencies and risk assets like indices, even gold. We might start having those retracements on metals. But again, we'll see. Let me just respond to this text message. Okay. Someone asked me, okay, so are you still bearish on BTC? Yeah. And the reason being, because again, man, so like I talked about it, nothing changed on the weekly time frame. Now this is actually a good thing to bring up, right? Let me put NQ on my other chart just in case. All right, just to see what's happening and stuff like that. I'm not gonna lie, like I'm really interested to see what's gonna happen above this high. If this is going to be a fake out, everyone's anticipating this to be a range breakout. And I've told you guys before, once you go above the highs and we're in consolidation, it's very, like, unless we get like a strong weekly candle closure, then I would anticipate price to move higher. But again, the weekly candle, daily candles are still printing. So I'm gonna wait on this. Now, if we do form a fair value gap here, I'll probably look for longs going into tomorrow, depending on how this candle closes. So I'll provide an update as usual inside the Telegram. But going back to what you were talking about with Bitcoin. Yeah, I'm still bearish on it because nothing has changed on the weekly time frame, right? And I even said like we could possibly head back up into this area, which was my target last night. And when I go down to the 4-hour time frame, right, the play was literally just that. I was trying to target that order block, and we had this fair value gap being inverted after sweeping prior highs. So now we'll look at this market structure here, right? We have swing low, swing high, swing low, swing high, swing low. The market breaks above this prior structural high with a fair value gap. That was exactly what I was looking for an entry right here on the fair value gap closure. And then I have my weekly order block as my target. Now, this is a short-term move against my overall higher time frame trend. So that's the thing. Most people will think, well, because if you're bearish, why are you taking longs? Well, I'm only taking longs because the longs are presenting in the near term, right? Bullish market structure, inversion, and we have the weekly order block that has not been traded to. And then look at this beautiful move up into that area. So I'm still bearish, to be honest. But what I'll say this, if we have a closure like above here, like around 91K, we might come back up into this range. you don't want to, you want to see this bearish order block respect. You don't want to see any candle closures inside the order block's range, or then the probability start to diminish, because right now I'm anticipating this to be the weekly candle open. This to me looks like this is possibly the manipulation, because now we're coming up into this order block, and then this candle might flip bearish similar to this to take out these liquidity pools below 84K. And I talked about it before on the 3-month time frame on the quarterly chart. We have this EBB candle bars low, and on the 12-month chart, I know it's crazy, right? We're going to the yearly chart. We do have this big fair value gap to the downside in here. So this low is around 74K. That's why I'm looking for that extended move lower down into this area. And then to be honest, from this point, I would probably be a heavy buyer on BTC on like spot. But this is picture perfect synergy right now for me. And I'm looking for BTC longs around this area for like the long-term push. I think if we do get that push down to 70K, this is an easy 2x, 3x potential move back up into like 140s, maybe 200s. To be honest, I don't really follow, like, I know I probably should follow stocks a little bit more, but my bad, I was just reading text. But yeah, I don't really keep up on like equities like that. I want to be honest, but like trying to like day trade and keep up with all this stuff right now, you know, I don't want to spread myself a little bit too thin. Yeah, so I think today is going to be pretty unchanged. I don't think, because again, with rate cuts being unchanged, it just means that the market will probably just consolidate because nothing happened, right? Everyone's waiting to see if we're going to have interest rates increases or interest rate decreases. Nothing happened. So we'll probably just do nothing. And then we'll probably have a setup going into tomorrow at some point. So let me break down the silver trade. If you guys have any questions, we can kind of go through them, because I don't think we're going to have any significant move. I'm not going to lie though, I would like to see what happens on this daily candle. If this is a rejection, if this becomes like a manipulation move, that would be, we'll see. Every other time, higher time frame looks still pretty bullish on this. All right, so silver, right? So silver, number one, obviously, let me go to the, what time frame was it on? Okay, so number one, the 4-hour time frame, right? So on the 4-hour time frame, what did we have? Right, the market ended up coming back into this fair value gap point in here, and then we had a big strong impulse push up. The market dropped lower, failed to drop on this candle, then we pushed back above and we kind of created this overall swing, right? So now what happens is the market drops lower, right? The market drops lower at this exact moment. I need to see what's going to happen, right? Is this going to be a drop to send the market like all the way down to new lows? Is it going to be a near-term top? I don't know. However, look what happens, right? The market holds this current structure and we push back above. So right here, this was Tuesday, this was going into the Asia session. Right here is when I sent the alert inside of Telegram. What do we have here? We have a higher low. This low is higher than this one. And we created a order block because we just pretty much closed back above around that area. They didn't close above that high, but for me, I'm looking at this on the 4-hour time frame, like, okay, cool. Can I anticipate the next 4-hour candle? The answer is yes, because now the next candle that opens is going to be Asia session. And now I just go down to the 1-hour time frame. So now this is why I always preach to you guys, I need a 4-hour setup. When I go to the 1 hour, what do I see? Pretty clear bullish fair value gap and this inversion. And we never tested this order block. And what do we have here? We have relative equal highs. So now I have all this confluence. So now all I'm looking for simply is the market to drop down lower, head up into that area as my target one. And that's why I said I'm going to maybe hold out for maybe a small position for this high, just in case we really get to the upside. That's exactly what happened, right? Easy. Look how easy this was, man. And now some people will ask, well, what's the entry time frame, right? Like, number one, you could just buy this fair value gap and look at the 15-minute time frame. We have a clear structure in here. Now this might be a little bit more advanced for people, but nonetheless, right? Market comes down. This could be your stop loss right there below the low. If you want to keep it below the fair value gap, you can. There's so many ways to do it. However, you get your 1 hour confirmation right here, right? 1 hour EBP. Go down to the 15 to the 5-minute time frame. Can you see some sort of entry, right? This right here was a 1 hour EBP. The market comes down into this fair value gap, retests. Guess what? Boom. That's your trade right there. And then this actually ran much higher afterwards, going into the overnight session. So now you guys see, like, everything I do is based off the 4-hour, daily, and weekly. I don't care. Listen, man, not directed to anyone in here at all, right? But I see too much time on people on Instagram, TikTok, especially if you're getting trading advice from TikTok, may God help you, man. But I see, so I've been around for like 8 years. There's so many people preaching all this scalping stuff and 5 minute, 1 minute. And I've seen it firsthand because I've coached thousands of students at this point. Trading those lower time frames are going to destroy you if you have no clue what you're doing on the higher time frame. Like, people could argue with me left and right about this, but I truly believe, like, yeah, some people might make it work, but I think most people are better off just understanding higher time frame and then adjusting accordingly. And if you guys disagree, I'd love to hear the counter argument as well, just to have like a discussion around it. But yeah, that was pretty much the silver trade. Let's see, euro pound. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna have any real moves, to be honest. I think this might be dull. I'll wait till about 2:30 because let me just pull up the calendar. Yeah, because we have the press conference in about at 2:30. So typically, like, the Fed Powell is going to speak, and then from there, people might make inferences on what's going to happen in the future. So we'll kind of wait to see what happens at 2:30 in about like 20 minutes or so. Oh yeah, but my bad, Euro GBP. I'm telling you guys, man, like, everything you need to do to learn in terms of like trading, if you put market structure and candlesticks, and realistically, that's all you need. Fair value gaps are a plus, but if you understand market structure, bro, like, you don't really need fair value gaps. Euro pound, let's see the weekly. Yep, beautiful, man. In trend, big rejection, push up into the area, go to the daily time frame, swing low, swing high, push up. Let's see on the 4-hour if there's any fair value gap. There's a little bit of a fair value gap here, but we kind of pushed a little bit further up. Pretty much had a stop hunt above. Like, you have this nice wick above, liquidity pool sweep. You have this breakdown below. I mean, dude, this is beautiful. And you have all this liquidity below. I mean, beautiful, man. These are plays that I know people are very impatient, because I'm very impatient as well. Well, at least I was. But man, if you can wait for good opportunities like this, and they happen, I know people look at the daily and weekly time frame, and the reason I know this is because I get comments like this all the time on Instagram and YouTube. People don't want to submit to the reality that, like, you can have a higher time frame bias and have multiple opportunities. Now, you're going to need to watch multiple different assets, and that's what I talked about today on Telegram. That's just the truth of the matter. Now, you don't have to adopt that methodology. Obviously, you guys can do whatever you want, but in my opinion, I've just, it's not even an opinion. From like anecdotal experience from myself and other mentors that are in this space, I have a lot of experience speaking with other people that have mentorship groups. Every single person that sticks to the lower time frame always gets smoked. And the traders that you see usually getting the most payouts and the highest performance, more oftentimes than not, are trading on higher time frames. Now, again, I'm not saying scalping does not work, because that's not what I'm trying to get at. But I'm saying for most people, it's probably not going to work. Gold, is it a good sell right now? I would not sell gold, man. Like, I know you see this EBP and you're tempted, but this is like one of those trades that you just want to take a trade just to take it. And then if it works out, you're going to be like, see, I knew it. Like, Omar doesn't know what he's talking about. But I don't know, man. I just don't want to short something this strong. Especially on the 4-hour time frame. The 4-hour time frame is kind of just consolidating up here. So, I mean, listen, if you want to take the risk and just like a small stop loss, sure. I personally would not do it. Because you could tell yourself, like, oh yeah, if I get an entry right here, for example, on that fair value gap right here, stop loss, let's say above the high, I'm going to just target, like, maybe these equal lows. Right, I'm gonna try to go for a 2-hour. I mean, you can, but like, is it high probability? It's just a little bit risky, is all I'll say. Because when something is high up like this, we can still take out the high. Now, someone would ask, would you long this? No. There's something called a no trade zone for me. Like when the market is this aggressively bullish, I'm not going to really look for shorts. And when the market is this aggressively bullish, I don't want to look for sells either. So like for me, I'm not looking at this asset class in the meantime. Yeah, I know a lot of you guys, I'm telling you, I know a lot of you guys are seeing this. But again, I'm not going to take the risk on this. I know there's a 1 hour EBP, you know, but like, again, guys, I don't want to take the risk. It's so counter trend. And gold has been on an absolute tear to the upside. Like, think about it. This is just this week alone. From Monday's open. No, I'm sorry. This was the week right here. In 2 weeks, pretty much, we went from all the way from 4,400 to 5,300. Just think about that. That's crazy. For ABP, do you have to have a full candle close below or above open? Yes. So this would be considered, even though I don't think this candle didn't close below the low, right? For me, it doesn't matter because, and I'm just showing you the example. I'm not saying like this is one I would take. But as long as it closes below the opening price, even if it's a bearish candle, it doesn't matter. The opening price is the opening price, right? So obviously this price opened up here. So this candle closes here. So this candle closes below the open, right? We took out the prior bar high. That's it. That's all you need in order to be able to identify this as an EBP. You know, it's so funny. I get this question for the last 2 years that I've been doing content. People ask, like, do you ever sleep? And honestly, I don't. Like, you guys will see me like on Telegram at 2 a.m. and then you'll see me during the New York session at 7 a.m. I just take naps, man. I take naps throughout the day. And I will say this, sometimes what happens is this. If I catch a good opportunities, like for this morning, I slept in a little bit because I knew I wasn't going to trade because I already caught silver and I caught BTC last night. And I told myself, all right, I'm just going to go ahead and rest now. Plus, again, like when I looked at NQ and gold, everything was ripping. And I don't want to try to fade this right now. And same thing with NQ. It was ripping overnight. And I'm like, all right, what's the chances I'm going to find the play? Like, of course, can you like look for a sell and maybe a retracement lower? Sure, you can. But is that my preferred method? No. So it's kind of like I pick and choose. Like if I know that there's good opportunities, I won't sleep for a whole week. If need be, and I'll catch up on sleep during the day, maybe take 2-hour naps. But yeah, guys, super high energy. GC should go back to 53.24. Yeah, possibly. But I will say this, man, like this is why I don't like playing longs in this as well, because it's so high up. We know a retracement's coming, but to time the retracement is extremely difficult. I've lost so much money doing this, like trying to have a retracement, but also like, do I want to play this long? I don't know, you know, it's just a little bit risky. No, Richard, I get this question asked a lot. Not anymore, but everything I do is inside of my Telegram, and I have a second YouTube channel as well. This one just is where I do my live streams, and yeah, everything is going to be on those 2 forums. Yeah, so that's exactly what I do. So actually, if you go to my alert log, just to show that I'm not like bullshitting, I had the BTC alerts right here somewhere, one of these BTC alerts. I set a lot of alerts, guys, because the thing is, I don't want to watch the marketplace for the retracement, right? Like BTC, for example, I wanted this retracement around here. So what do? I set an alert. I don't sit there and watch the whole 8 hours of this retracement, right? Because there's no need to. And then when I get the alert, then I watch price action, and sometimes I'll just enter market buy and then leave an order stop loss and stuff like that. But yeah, I always leave alerts. Yeah, I will. This video is actually coming out on Friday. So today's Wednesday. Tomorrow, I have a video out on Funded Next with the CFD challenge. And then Friday is going to be the Lucid plan as well. The Lucid plan, again, if you guys like Top Step, you'll like Lucid. But in my opinion, I've always said it before, I think Top Step, no firm is realistically going to beat them. Unless you're trying to get huge payouts. The only other firm that I'll go with if you want huge payouts is Apex. Let me see the thing. I forgot what I was gonna do actually. Oh yeah, actually never mind, I'll just do it later. I'm not sure what you mean by this. Well, if the EBP candle closes as bearish, I'm gonna look for sells, and if it's looking for bullish, I'm gonna be looking for buys. But ideally, I talked about it before on my YouTube channel, I prefer it on like a 4-hour time frame. The 1 hour is cool as a confirmation entry, but it's only with context. Like look at this 4-hour bullish EBP, right? This is gonna indicate that the next candle at the very least is gonna have a move up, right? And if I'm really bullish because maybe I see this with a daily bias, and maybe there's like a daily target that I have here, maybe it's a fair value gap, maybe it's a daily order block, whatever, and I get this EBP candle, I have room to run the trade up here. So it gives me the directional bias for the next candle or the next few candles. I'll be honest, I don't really trade London session anymore. I trade Asia session, and sometimes the Asia session will go into London. But I don't trade London session anymore, man. I need to sleep at some point, right? Yeah, so if you see that WOB, that's like an old thing that I have. I just never took it down. But like, yeah, I don't have a Discord. What do I think of Euro? I'll be honest. So like, it's kind of tough, right? Because like number one, I don't really see a setup just yet, because this push up can easily just be a little bit of a reaction because we took out lows, and then maybe this is going to start sending lower. So I'm going to wait for the end of the day today. Powell's going to have his announcements, the speech at 2:30, and depending on what he says, we'll kind of go from there. Because again, same thing with the euro, right? We're above this weekly high. We hit that fair value gap. This was our target, right? And now I don't know what's going to happen. I will say this was a very nice play last night if you were able to catch this. Someone in here, I remember, said they saw it, right? Like, so when you guys ask me what's context, look at this. We have a huge push up, we're above a liquidity pool, and then we're at this weekly fair value gap. So when we sync this together, what do we see? What do we have? We have a 4-hour EBP, and then we have downside fair value gaps that we can target. So now you have context of using this EBP with, okay, you're above a prior high, you're at a key higher time frame level, we've had nonstop push up. Now we could see some sort of retracement lower. I actually missed this one, but this one was during the London session, and this candle, so that means pretty much you have to be up at 5 a.m. Eastern time. Depending on your time zone, you could have caught this move. Obviously, I was asleep at this moment, so yeah. But again, I don't get like FOMO, because you guys see this time and time again. It shows up every single week, guys, multiple times a week. Yeah, no problem, brother. I was really trying to get the Lucid one out as soon as possible, but like I got a little bit sick yesterday, and yeah, I just kind of like. And the thing is this, I'll be honest. Sometimes when it comes to creating content, like these videos, you know, if I'm locked in trading, I'm spending a lot of time on my desk, and then when I'm not trading, the last thing I want to do is like make trading videos, you know. But the Lucid video, I promise, will be up by Friday. No, I do not. I'm gonna actually I have to apply for the affiliate for my funded futures. The thing is this: every affiliate that I have, I've used the platform. So with Funded Next, I've gotten multiple payouts from them from the future side. Purchasing one of the Funded Next CFD challenges. When I've talked about Alpha Capital, I use them consistently as well. Apex, I've tried Apex challenges before. Top Step, I've used Top Step. So the next goal is to do my funded futures and Lucid. So as of right now, no, but they should have some sort of affiliate code. How do you full port the news? And well, so most people will full port. Okay, so let me give you guys the hack that a lot of people do, specifically with Apex. So let's just say the market is in a range, but they don't do it on FOMC. They typically do it like on NFP. So like, let's just say the market is, let me try to find the scenario. Okay, let's just say the market's consolidating like this, right? The market's consolidating like this, right? Like maybe there's like a little bit of a range. What some people will do is they'll place a buy limit above the range, and then they'll place a sell limit, right? So then when the news comes out, if the market like has this huge move up, right, they might get filled there, and then they're going to be instantly in profit, and then they just get out, right? Now, what's the con? The con is that you have something like this. Let me show you something like this. Imagine you did it on this specific side, right? Right, let's say you had a buy limit above the range, and then you had a sell limit below the range, right? What happens is, sell stop. So you put a sell stop here, you put a buy stop here. If the market tanks and we head lower, you can scalp that move lower. The problem and the risk of this is obviously something like this, where maybe you get triggered on the sell, and then maybe you don't take profit. Maybe you get filled down here. You weren't quick enough, and the market flips on a dime, and now you just blew the account, right? I'm not a fan of this, but like, I mean, I've seen people pass their Apex challenges doing this, and a lot of people are like, well, if Apex right now, like for 90% off, it's $20, right? So some people will be like, you know what, I'm just gonna full port it, and it's only $20. If I buy 5 accounts, it's only $100. I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. Or I'll buy 20 accounts, $400. I'm just gonna risk it. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of this, but that's how people do it. Which accounts are used for CFDs? If it's funded next, which one do you use? So I use funded next, and I use Alpha Capital. And for funded next, because they have the 20% off if you're a new user though, right? So and I've never used them before because they never had CFD props. I used their futures platform. But with funded next, let me show you. I'm gonna have a video about this tomorrow, but I personally don't like the two-phase challenges. Right, like if you go to the CFDs, like so you just use this code right here, start26. You could use my link if you want, but so this is the one I use. I like the one step. The one step, it's a little bit more expensive, but again, it's I'm using it with the discount code. For me, I just like the profit targets. One profit target, 10%. Then they have a maximum loss limit of 6%. Daily loss is 3%, and you could trade on the news. The reason why I like this plan over this plan, right? And I'm going to talk about it more in depth in tomorrow's video. And you could use, hold on. If you want, you could just use the link that I posted inside of right here. I'm gonna pin it here. If you want to support the channel, it is an affiliate link, so I do get some sort of very small commission off of this. But essentially, the reason why I like this one is because yes, it's more expensive, but look at the minimum trading days. It's only 2 minimum trading days, and my first withdrawal is in 5 days. Versus the Stellar 2-step, which in my opinion, I'm not the biggest fan of, because it's you have 5 minimum trading days and you have 2 phases. So that means you're gonna spend 10 days, assuming you even like pass the challenge right away, you're gonna spend 10 days doing this. And then your first withdrawal is 21 days. And then the second withdrawal becomes 14 days. So for me, that's too much time. I don't want to be waiting a whole month to get a payout, right? Especially now with futures props, you can get funded in like 2 days, you know, and then get your first payout. So the reason why I like this one step is because number one, it's only one profit target, 10%. Yes, you do have like tighter risk parameters, but again, I'm not trying to full port anyways. Like I can risk 1.5%, no problem on the day. And then the thing is this, if you hit a trade in Asia and you see another setup in New York, you can now, you know, leverage that gain that you had. And this is the main, honestly, this is the main thing. Minimum trading days is 2 days. So if it takes me like 2 days, 3 days to pass this 10%, I'm funded. And then I can get a payout in the first withdrawal next week. And this is why this one step is my favorite plan on the CFD space, because I always look, whenever I look for a challenge, right? I'm looking for realistically one of two things. So I'm looking for realistically this, right? How fast can I get from challenge to payout? Not funded, right? I want to know how long it will take me from the challenge to the payout. Because that's the only metric for me that matters. Because I don't want to wait on the 2-step plan, for example. You're going to have to wait again, like 10 days, because this minimum trading days is 5 days for phase 1 and phase 2. So that's 10 days. And then they're going to process your accounts. That might take another 2 business days. So right there, assuming the fastest possible, 12 days, that's off rip just to pass the challenge to get to your funded. Then you have to wait another 21 days to get the payout. So you're waiting 33 days to get a payout, which is A lot. Now, the benefit is, like, when you do request a payout, FundedNext has a 24-hour guarantee. So you know, at the very least, you'll get the payout right away. You know, every payout that I've requested so far from them has been like right away. You know, someone over here I know is going to tell me like, oh, see, I told you this was going to sell. To be fair, now you have this 5-minute EBP, 15-minute EBP. It looks a little bit better, very tight risk, but still, I personally would not do it. But yeah. Yeah, appreciate it, brother. You know what's funny? I know I always talk shit about, let's see what NQ's doing on the news. Yeah, again, guys, based off of like the news announcement, it just looks like this might actually be a run on stops. But again, anything can shift. That's why I'm going to wait for the daily candle closure, and I'm not going to rush anything. At the end of the day, I want to trade what the market is telling me, not what I think. And sometimes it is a very fine line between the two. But going like, bro, it's so funny because like oil, I hate oil so much, but this was such a clean daily EBP play. We had this strong push, close above a prior structural high, and look at that beautiful retest. Comes back down into the prior high with the fair value gap. Boom. Takes out Asia range low. We have this inversion. I still hate oil, but man, I can't lie. This was one of those ones that were just extremely, extremely clean. Like really a beautiful, beautiful setup. No, so the custom indicator that I have, this one's like for like it was custom coded for me. So this one's not like it's not out there. The arrow, it's making monthly EBP. Yeah, that's the reason why I'm like still looking for potential bullishness on this, but I just want to see like DXY kind of reject around here. If you go to the euro, right? Like I just don't want to long this after such a strong reaction. I'm waiting for like another setup. Yeah, like who knows? You know what? Like honestly, I'll say this. Ideally, maybe we kind of create like some sort of like fair value gap on the weekly time frame. This candle closes obviously in about 2 days now, right? Thursday, Friday. And then what happens when I go down to the daily, maybe I'm going to look for longs if we can come back somewhere in this area in here. And then if we get longs, now I can look for that the move up because the monthly candle is now going to close. So if the monthly candle closes as an EBP, now I can look for this as my support going into the new month. And that's why I use a higher time frame. Because imagine, guys, now you have like all this coming together and this becomes a very key, pivotal, strong level that you can look for buys in. I joined the mentorship last year after watching you trade on the 4-hour. I ran away. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate that. See, and I'm telling you, because I have so much experience. I've had thousands of students at this point, and I've been blessed to be around so many traders and so many legendary traders, like people who are making real money in the markets. And every single time someone mentions higher time frame, no, bro. That's why if you talk about certain things online, and I refuse to do it, like scalping videos always get the most views. But I don't believe scalping is the best alternative for every single person. But that's fine because I don't want to attract someone who's going to come in and then think, oh my God, like he's on the 4-hour time frame, he's on the higher time frame. Like, no way, I don't want to trade with this guy anymore. And that's perfectly fine. Like, listen, at the end of the day, it's not everyone's cup of tea and I don't take any offense to it. But I do know from experience, most people will be much better off sticking on the 4-hour, daily, and the weekly, and then looking for these plays. And then, mind you, I'm not saying like you have to take a 4-hour trade. Like you could go down to the 5-minute and 15, but you have to wait for that. But yeah, I appreciate that remark, man. I appreciate that. If you get a 4-hour bearish EVP, but the 4-hour market structure is bullish, would you still short? If yes, okay, this is a good question, right? So let me, okay, this is a perfect example, right? Because everyone always tells you don't go counter trend. This is a perfect example of this because look, you get a 4-hour bearish EVP at a key level. Some people will say, well, I wouldn't short this because this is against counter trend. Yeah, but we're at a higher time frame level. Context matters. We're up from the lows of pretty much from last week, right? This is Monday of last week. Okay, yeah, from last week to here. This is not a normal move on the euro, right? 417 pips. We're well above that. So at some point there is going to be a retracement. So now when the market is sitting straight off the open, we push higher going into the middle of the week. Is it plausible to get some sort of reversal, right? Again, we're above a key weekly high. We're at this weekly fair value gap, and now we're getting this 4-hour ABP. I personally would still take this. Now, again, where do I run into? I could look for this imbalance on the closure right here. I could look for this fair value gap. My targets just become a lot lower. Or if you really want to keep it simple, you could just draw the fib from the swing low to the swing high of that move. And then you can target, if you go to the settings, I have it right here. Right, you can target the 0.62, which is going to be OTE. So now when you get that next move on that next candle, you can just look to target the 62, maybe the 70. These lines right here are the prior high, and look at how it had a reaction at every single line. Whoops. Because all you're doing is you're trading. Excuse me. All you're doing is man. But yeah, all you're doing is you're trading this back down into discount. So that's the 62, the 70, and the 79. And look how beautiful it respects these areas. That's why I'm saying sometimes you don't even need fair value gaps, because if you just understand market structure and you know the market wants to trade back down into a discount, doesn't mean that this is going to be a long, but you can use this now as a target. And that's the beautiful thing about this. You're just trading it back inside the range. Now these are your targets. To be honest, I'll say this. I don't like trade copiers because I had a video about this on Instagram. I'm not a big fan of trade copiers just because you're putting on so much risk on all the accounts. In my opinion, unless you're using Apex, I feel like there's no point of using a copier. Unless you're someone who's super disciplined. Like if you're super disciplined and you know that you're not going to tilt that hard, you can do that. But even then, I wouldn't recommend it. Now, if you do still want to use it, Top Step has a built-in trade copier, and then you could also use Trade Syncer. Trade Syncer is another one. That's another one that has a good copy trade. A bunch of my friends use this one. Let me just pull up the website. Yeah, it's this one right here. It's a cloud-based one, but I'll say this: with any trade copier, you always want to make sure that like it's properly working when you enter trades, because I've seen so many stories of people, even the built-in copiers with like NinjaTrader. There's just like sometimes there's issues with them. So, but this is the one a lot of people I see, a lot of my friends are using. But oh yeah, to answer your question though, I don't really copy trade. Unless it's Apex. Apex is the only one that I copy trade. And I don't really trade with Apex that often, but to be honest, I'm going to start buying with this promo code, the 90% off. I'm just going to buy a few accounts, to be honest. I'll be honest, I hate instant funding, especially with futures props. Bro, some of them have 20% consistency rules. That is absolutely insane. Think about that, 20% consistency rule. That's insane. So I'm not a big fan, and they're very high. They're very high cost. They cost like $700 plus. So in my opinion, if you're going to spend $700, you're better off going with a CFD prop firm. Now, if you have never traded with CFD props, just wait until my video tomorrow. I'm going to talk about the one with Funded Next, because I personally think I like this one the most. This one-step challenge. I think this suits most people's preference, especially if you use like the code, like the discount that they have right now. You'll get it for a little bit cheaper. But if you're gonna spend that much money, $700, like dude, you could just use a CFD prop firm. Because $700 for a challenge is very expensive, especially on the future side. With 20% consistency, that's just too much. I have a video on my channel about this. I'll talk about it a little bit more in depth in like probably a future video, but yeah. Let me. I'm gonna answer these last few questions, and then I'll probably, because I don't think anything's gonna happen. They're already having the speech right now, but it's probably gonna be all like just chatting, and then I'll probably see what's gonna happen once we close on the daily chart. Let me see silver. Yeah. Um, let me cover this one, UJ. No, I mean, I covered it in the beginning of the week, but to be honest, again, it's one of those things that like straight off the open, we've tanked. So is it like, do I want to continue to look for sells? I'll be honest though, I said it in the commentary as well. I do think, but this is probably gonna be a play for next week. I do think we're gonna hit this fair value, this gap in here in price. So that means if I'm correct, there's gonna be probably some crazy news event on the yen at some point, whether it's this week or probably next week, or maybe even in 2 weeks. Because even on the weekly time frame, the monthly candle that's closing, we're also closing as an EBP. Now, I will say this, we are sitting inside this overall fair value gap, so I'm gonna watch this as a first support area with this order block. So yeah, but now it just becomes a game of waiting for a daily setup. So I would probably like target something like this, like 151.18s, and that's a lot. That's a big move. That's like over 200 pips. Yeah, like 220, and that's assuming we don't even come back up here. Maybe retest, maybe fail, maybe form a daily EBP. Maybe I'm just looking for this area in here to form some sort of confirmation on the daily time frame. And whenever this sets up, because again, at the end of every single day, I go through every single daily chart, and I go through, like, that's how I pick what I'm going to watch for going into the next day. Where did Paladin go? Does he still trade? Yeah, Paladin's just doing his own thing, man. But he's doing well. He's doing well. And he does, last we spoke, like, I think he's kind of like focused on other stuff and other ventures outside of trading. Let me just go through this. You have an opinion on ETH? To be honest, man, like I talked about crypto, I just think Bitcoin's gonna just tank. Like I'm bearish Bitcoin, so obviously if I'm bearish this, ETH probably also falls down and clears out all these lows as well. So probably sub 2,700. Crypto, I'll say this, crypto moves nice, but you have a lot of weeks like this. And I've said it before, I'll literally take weekly or daily trades on crypto and have like a wide stop. Like trying to time like moves on this is very difficult on an intraday basis, for me at least, because in the intraday, if you go to the 1 hour time frame, it's just so much consolidation, man. Like think about it, there's days where it literally does nothing. Like imagine being in a trade like this. Like look, well, this is Sunday, so it doesn't really count. But even this like Friday, like it's just so choppy. Then you have this big up, big down, like, yeah. But again, based off the weekly, I still think crypto is gonna drop lower. Yeah, German 40. I think all indexes are probably gonna, let's see the German 40. I'll use the forex.com one. Let's see the weekly, how the weekly's looking. This is one of those ones that I usually wait for a little bit more candlesticks because number one, we're still sitting at this overall support, right? Like, let me see the monthly time frame, probably all-time highs, yeah. So again, same thing. Like the thing is this, because this has been trending so much higher, I do not want to fade this going lower because number one, if you look at this bullish market structure, we're still above this prior high and we have this strong push up. And this retest could simply be a retest before we push higher. When I go down to the daily time frame, right? The problem with going long here is now we've created a resistance area. So now this becomes a resistance. So something like this, I usually don't like to trade when the market is sitting at support and sitting at a resistance, and then the candles become very small daily candles, because again, after a big move, one way or the other, the market will typically consolidate, right? Like in a bullish trend, the market pushes up, we have a big expansion. Everyone thinks there's going to be a big move on this specific day, but then what happens is the market kind of chops out. Maybe we have a little bit of a reversal, and then maybe in this situation, we have now a resistance that's formed. So for me, it's like, do I want to short at support? Do I want to, yeah, it's just, for me, this is something that I would consider more like a no trade zone for me. And I would need more candlesticks to kind of like form to be able to see something like this. Now, like, let's just say we have like a daily candle that has a strong, like imagine we get this on this side. Then you can look for that next daily candle to push up, maybe to this opening price up here, right? But for me right now, as currently constructed, I don't see this as anything substantial for me to look for an opportunity. because it's stuck between two levels, and now the candles are very small. Mind you, these are daily candles. So right now the candles are very small, so that means we're inside of a consolidation, and I'm waiting for some sort of like expansion move or some sort of bullish setup to maybe so that we can start to head higher, maybe even just to the gap fill up there. Yeah, so honestly, the play is this for me. I want to look for euro longs, but this is probably not going to set up towards the end of the week. I think we might consolidate, to be honest. But based off the weekly candle and the weekly structure and the way that the monthly candle closes, which closes by the end of the week, I mean, I'm going to be looking for longs at the very least, probably back up to here. Like, to maybe, it's going to probably retest the bottom of the zone somewhere in here around the 1.2s. Like the 1.2s is right here. 1.12s, I'm sorry. Oh no, 1.2000. But now I just need to see some sort of confirmation. So like when the market, if the market comes down into this area, I'm going to look for some sort of confirmation and look to see if we get some sort of intraday buy. Something like this, ideally. The pound on the 4-hour time frame. Yeah, but the only problem with this one is I know, because I know like you're looking at this fair value gap, the 4-hour EBP. The only thing is like I don't like going long after a big move like this. Now, and also the problem with this is this. We're closing as an inside bar. So an inside bar is simply a candle that closes inside of the prior bar's range. So you see how this current candle closes inside of this. So now this is considered like a little bit of a pullback day. What are we more than likely going to create today? A fair value gap. So if we create this fair value gap and the market closes like this, now that's going to be this 4-hour EBP candle's low. So now this becomes a risk for the market to take that liquidity and then possibly start to head higher. Nah, man, not really, because crude oil is just so like choppy. I know it had like a really good 2 weeks, but more oftentimes than not, it just consolidates too much. I'm not the biggest fan of it, because even the weekly time frame, like, don't get me wrong, like you can find moves, but I just feel like it's an opportunity cost because you could just find better moves in other asset classes. Yeah, Apex, which country are you from? Because I know some people have been saying that. I know, man, like it's such a shame because like this one, the thing is this, like this all sets up because like NQ's pushing higher, gold's pushing higher. So there's a lot of money flowing into these risk assets, and a lot of money leaving the dollar. So like all these different assets are just printing and pushing higher, especially gold. It's just unfortunate they all happen on the same exact day or the same exact week. It's this symbol. It's just this right here. And then everything else is black. And then the canvas is going to be, this is going to be you can just put this code in there. And this is the background. Yeah, so that's probably why, like with Apex, I guess they don't allow from people from India. Yeah, no problem, Jordan. But yeah, guys, again, this is exactly, I'm going to end it on this. This is exactly why I don't want to short this, because it just becomes a situation where, yeah. And I know someone else in here said 53 plus, it looks like it now, especially after we inverted this and this strong candle closure above. The 1 hour candle's looking like a bullish engulfing now. And again, this is why I don't like fading this type of like strong trend. And mind you, this is not even just like a trend. This is like apocalyptic. The way that gold is pushing up in silver, you know? So I don't want to get in front of this type of price action. It's just too risky and not worth it. But yeah, guys, appreciate it. And yeah, so okay, I know because someone asked about the structure video. So I have one already that's going to be on this channel right here that I did during the live session. So let me go to my account. All right, so if you go to my channel right here, On the live sessions, go to down somewhere in here. It should be labeled market structure. If you're struggling with market structure, watch this. So this is going to be the video you guys want to watch. It's 56 minutes. I did this live. So check that one out in the meantime. And then I'll probably make another market structure video for the main YouTube channel as well. But yeah, guys, appreciate it. And again, I'll probably do a market update video once the market closes. I'll be honest, this does look pretty bullish on silver. I do think we're going to come back down. Come back up into retest that 117s. It's a 4-hour EBP, but again, it's kind of like took out Asia range low, right? This fair value gap, and we're having the strong market structure up, but we'll see. I'm going to wait for this one to see how it closes on the day. And depending on the daily closure, we might start to see a little bit more move of higher move up. But yeah, appreciate it, guys. And I'll see you guys inside of the Telegram. Peace.